This is New York. This is where our story takes place. A love story between 8 million people and a baseball team. A love affair usually means two people, moonlight, soft, sweet words. But this love affair takes place in broad daylight and at the top of its lungs. How do you explain this love affair? Baseball fans usually fall for only the great teams. And in baseball, there have been many far greater than the Mets. And there have been greater heroes than the Mets. The immortal Babe. Bill Dickey. Mel Ott, a giant with a bat. Lou Gehrig. Joe DiMaggio. The splendid splinter, Ted Williams, one of the 400 hitters. The wily Whitey Ford and Yogi Berra. Bobby Thompson of the Giants hit that pennant-winning home run against Brooklyn. New York went steady with him for years. But the adoration accorded the Flying Scotsman was just a crush compared to what the fans felt for the Mets. New York first met the Mets here at an informal little get-together. They were introduced to each other by this matchmaker from Manhattan, Shea Stengel. He invited some friends over to his place to meet the new team in town. It was a blind date, and it was love at first sight. The New York fans fell head over heels. This is a new breed of baseball fans. Sensitive, emotional, and creative. There are slogans and poems, and they come from the heart. Cards are created by the hundreds, and every day is Valentine's Day. A team that has a dog for a mascot can't be all bad. This is Homer. He's one of the few homers the Mets see all season. The Mets have a rough first year, but the fans never blame them. Neither did Casey. Every game, the trumpet sounds. The Mets hear the call to greatness. But the line is always busy. As any couple knows, the first year is always the hardest. The Mets lose game after game, but the fans never lose hope. Baseball has never seen anything like it. Is it a question of rooting for the underdog? Maybe it's because the fans fell for the Mets on the rebound. Remember? Millions of hearts were broken when the New York Giants ran off with that rich fellow to San Francisco. One of the game's most exciting players, the Say Hey kid, goes with them. For New Yorkers, baseball has gone to the dogs. They had also been jilted by that team from Brooklyn. The Brooklyn Bums make the great trek west, too. Stake out a claim and strike it rich in Chavez Ravine. They left, but it wasn't because they didn't like New York. They just wanted to get out of Brooklyn. There was one team left in New York, the Yankees with their superstars like Mantle and Yogi Berra. But there's no comparison between the Yankees and the Mets. The Yankees win. But the Mets fans remain loyal, unique, and vocal.
Excuse me, sir. Why do you like the Mets?
But the Mets as a team is supposed to be understood, you know? They are young, they are trying to make themselves understood. The fact that they lose and they come behind, and that's it. We're a good team, and above all, you know, we got years ahead of us.
Excuse me, sir. Why are you a Mets fan?
I'm not.
Then why are you here?
I came with my buddy.
Is he a Mets fan?
I doubt it.
Excuse me, madam. Do you like the Mets?
Mets. Who likes the Mets? This is the ball team.
Then why are you here?
It's cheaper to get us somewhere near than in Florida.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. Are you a Mets fan?
Why don't you get lost? I'm trying to watch the ball game.
This is a ball game.
At the end of that first year, the Mets and their fans are still on a honeymoon. It's time for an anniversary gift. Most people would be content with a little white cottage. The Mets decided to give their fans a whole stadium. While a magnificent new home is being built, the Mets moved to the sunny South to begin spring training. Casey was determined this year that the Mets would not fall below last place. Rookies battle veterans for a berth. Some of the veterans on the Mets are almost 22 years old. The rookies are gathered from all over the country. To make the Mets, you have to have ability. But more important, you have to be lovable. Some made it, some didn't. Casey has his back to the camera. He doesn't want you to see a grown manager cry. These are umpires. You can tell by their determined look and superior attitude. They all came south for group therapy. It's important when an umpire speaks, he is heard and understood. Here is the umpire first in his class.
Now remember, boys, whenever the play is close and he's safe, do this. No! And on the same thing, if it's he's out on a post play, do this.
No!
What do you mean I'm out? I'm here blind as a bat.
You call me blind as a bat? I've been umpiring for years without a statement. I've had the entire league before the National Zone. Everyone is you young stop will be going about the place and trying to find the ball game without a three. When I call a play, I know what's the proper style. There is no way of eliminating concealment. Suppose you have a straight. Umpires always have the right statement. You're out of the ball game. He knows that we umpires are always right, but he's trying to tell me about a statement. When an umpire gives a decision, he has no play without a score. Every ball has to be straight for straight, and an umpire is always giving the sound because nobody has the time for the score. Until we call a play, we find the score, and we give it with sound because an umpire...
If you understood him,
no way.
see your doctor. Even at spring training, the marvelous Mets draw big crowds. There's a lot of excited talk about the coming season. When it comes to talking, Casey talks for the Mets, all of them.
Casey, how come the Mets drew a bigger box office last year than most any other team in both leagues?
Well, that's because the public in New York supported the ball club. They were loyal for years and years to the New York Giants. They were loyal to the Brooklyn Dodgers. We only had one team there, which was the Yankee team. It was doing splendid in itself, but they wanted to see another team come back into the field. And why shouldn't they go out and patronize? There's too many people in New York City. It's a cosmopolitan town in which when you go into a city of that size, there should be more than one entertainment. They decided they wanted to. It proved to Chamber of Commerce in New York City and to the governor and also to Mayor Wagner that we could draw over 1 million people, which proved the city is a better place for baseball than 15 franchises that are in the major leagues at the present time. There's 10 or 12 cities in the major league. They think they're major league cities, but they don't draw 1 million, and they maybe were up in the race. It shows that we should have another team that's in New York, and they proved it and stuck by the team. The officials of the ball club have worked all winter and during the summer negotiating with other owners, and they tried to get some stronger players. We've been unable to get an outstanding star that's on the team that has a great reputation. Wouldn't make any difference if you spent a large sum of money cash. The other man said, I need the man myself, so why should he be presented to our club?
Meanwhile, up north, workers rush to complete the new home for the Mets and their fans. Nobody has seen anybody move that fast in Shea Stadium since. Meanwhile, back at the training camp,
50, 60, 70-year-old people, they're now following baseball. They follow it through television and the newspapers. What do? Right now, they know the names of our players. They're looking for the team to go up. They're pulling for you whether they're in New England, whether they're around New York City. We have a following around Missouri, Oklahoma, around in Maine. They've watched them on television and so forth, and they say we're trying to see that little team get to the top. That's the reason why we're drawing so well through the turnstile, and we're going into a new ball club, greatest in baseball. There'll never be anything built this good. It'll have escalators. Well, good is an escalator? Well, it'll take you up and sit you down. You'll see the World's Fair. You can see the New York Mets, the amazing Mets. And the last thing you can do, you can sit in a nice, comfortable seat. Everything of comfort, any kind of a meal that you want to desire. Now it's up to the Mets to do the winning, and you'll never get sick when you're watching the Mets this summer.
the Mets and their fans threw the biggest housewarming New York has ever seen. It was even catered. The dream comes true. The Mets and their fans settle down in their own place. Alone together at last. Place.
What do you think of the Met Stadium?
Most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It's best thing, it's great. It's fantastic.
Why do you say that?
My father designed it.
What do you think of the Mets?
Well, I hope they measure up to the stadium, but I don't believe they will.
Do you like the Mets?
Yes, I like the Mets.
Why do you like the Mets?
Because my father...
But who cares? We got Casey.
That's by introducing the Mets to the fans. He was also their best man. And so...
Casey is having a birthday. Let's sing happy birthday, Case. 74 and a gent we adore, even in last place. There is simply no doubt he is going the route. He is keeping the Mets hopes alive. Here's happy birthday till next year when Casey is 75.
Casey, he's the greatest. I think Casey's the most.
The old professor, well, he's just great. I'll tell you that. He's great.
No matter where he is, no matter where he goes, Casey will always be #1 in the hearts of the Met fans. And so, as the Mets sink slowly into the cellar, we say goodbye. But they'll be back next year and the next. And one day, we hope there'll be a little addition to the family, the National League pennant. Because every love story should have a happy ending.